مخالفان، این کسانی که با این بنا با این حق و حقیقت مخالفت میکنن، این فیذهبوا جفاء، اینا در مقابل چشم شما انشاءالله نابود خواهند بود.
Einstein said, I don't know how World War III will be fought, but World War IV with sticks and stones. You know, I'm sitting here in the Unity Coalition for Israel's office, and this wonderful organization was started by a lady called Esther Levins, who remembered how when the Holocaust happened, now my great-grandmother and her entire family was murdered by the Nazis. My grandfather, by the skin of his teeth, managed to get out of Poland. Only 2 nephews. It was a very large family, but I'm estimating at least 70 people. All of them were murdered. You're talking 6 million Jews, just Jews. There were 2 million gypsies and gays. It's insane what Hitler did. And Esther remembers how nobody said a thing. We in America are suffering from a delusion of security. We have not experienced the insecurity, and therefore we don't realize how real this threat is. And the question is, can we be facing the very same situation? And the answer is yes.
Once the Iranian missiles are up and running on launching pads in Lebanon, they can reach not just Israel, they can reach Western targets. So we are talking about an expansion of Iran in the entire Eastern Mediterranean region, something that has not happened even during the Cold War under the Soviet threat.
In 1998, the Iranians carried out a test to launch a Scud missile from a barge in the Caspian Sea. Many people believe that this is what the Iranians would like to do with the United States, put a missile in a cargo ship going off of our coast and attack Baltimore, attack New York, attack Washington, D.C. From 100 miles off our coast, we'd never see it.
When Mahmoud Ahmadinejad talks about a world without America not only being desirable but achievable, he could mean probably one thing, and that is what's known as a strategic electromagnetic pulse attack.
An electromagnetic pulse weapon is essentially a nuclear weapon that is exploded in the atmosphere up above. It doesn't hit the ground, it's exploded up in the air. It sends out pulse waves, shock waves.
You have to understand what this pulse is. It's tremendously high energy. Every wire will pick up this pulse, take the energy, and burn out whatever's at the end.
I asked an Iranian, what is the motive of Iran? You know, when you ask somebody on the inside, it's amazing. You know, here we are, we're philosophizing. He said in one line, you know, we have to understand that unfortunately what the Democratic Party, particularly Jimmy Carter, did to Iran was such an incredible, despicable evil. He put in, an Iranian told me, for 1,400 years, that's 1,400 years, the radical Muslims have been trying to take over Iran. And it was a normal country. It took an American president, the people who stand for freedom and liberty, to put in another tyrant that has completely abused the rights of the entire country. You know, there are 80 million people suffering because of the stupidity of the Democratic Party. You know, they say the road to hell is paved with stupidity. These are not bad people. But if you can't understand that there are people that want to kill you when they say they want to kill you, they have chants, they're in the street, they have... What is so hard to understand? Death to America. I think the reason we find it so difficult to understand is we don't have experience. But as a Jew, and like Prime Minister Netanyahu, who had family murdered in the Holocaust, we understand when people say death, it doesn't need to make sense. There's jealousy. The Quran has many times, I believe 30 times, it says to kill Jews. They're fulfilling what their Bible tells us. So the Iranian told me this is the motive. Now, of course you understand there are 2 groups in Islam. There's the Shia and the Sunnis. The Sunnis are the ones from Saudi Arabia mainly that are killing us with these terrorist bombs. The Shia, they are the smart ones. The Iranians are not stupid people. They're very, very bright. They believe, and this is a quote, when the world will be filled with blood up to a horse's knee, the Messiah will come. So, if we would like to allow that to happen, we can vote for the people that are giving them peace and weapons and money. If we would like to not allow that to happen, it's what they call a binary choice. There's one option, which is allow the murderers to murder. The other option is murder the murderers. But the truth is, don't give the weapons that allow the murderers to murder. You don't even have to murder them. You can just stop them from having the weapons. All it takes is to bomb the nuclear reactors, and this whole problem disappears overnight.
So these questions, and in particular, the merits of the nuclear deal recently reached with Iran, have divided people of goodwill and raised hard issues on both sides. Here's how I see it. Either we move forward on the path of diplomacy and seize this chance to block Iran's path to a nuclear weapon, or we turn down a more dangerous path leading to a far less certain and riskier future. That's why I support this deal. I support it as part of a larger strategy toward Iran. By now, the outcome in Congress is no longer in much doubt, so we've got to start looking ahead to what comes next, enforcing the deal, deterring Iran and its proxies, and strengthening our allies. These will be my goals as president.
Never, ever, ever in my life have I seen any transaction so incompetently negotiated as our deal with Iran. And I mean never. We can talk about the $150 billion, which, by the way, they get, even if the deal isn't approved, they get it just for going to the table. We can talk about the fact that we have 4 wonderful people over there, and frankly, they're never going to come back with this group. And I will say this, if I win the presidency, I guarantee you that those 4 prisoners are back in our country before I ever take office. I guarantee that. So, I have a story that just came out an hour ago, and as President Obama calls him very routinely, he calls him the supreme leader. Our president is calling the person who is really the boss in Iran supreme leader. And I look at people shaking their heads, they can't believe it. But it just came out a little while ago. He said Israel will not exist in 25 years. Think of that. He just said this. He also said very strongly, very, very strongly, that this is the end of our dealings with the United States. We want nothing more to do with them. We're not going to do anything right here. We made this deal. It's a phenomenal deal. We're not going to deal with the United States anymore. And that's what he just said. And this was a very short period of time ago. So they rip us off. They take our money. They make us look like fools. And now they're back to being who they really are. They don't want Israel to survive, and that we have no dealings and we will have no further dealings with the United States. Now, the people that we were negotiating with and were working on the sanctions with, including, and as an example, Russia, who's selling tremendous missiles to Iran. You know that. Ballistic missiles being sold. All of these countries are going to do business with Iran. They're going to make lots of money and lots of other things with Iran. And we're going to do and we're going to get nothing. Nothing. We are led by very, very stupid people. Very, very stupid people. We cannot let it continue.
You can make the difference. Share this video via nevereveragain.org and vote for the candidate who will end the Iranian nuclear threat. Endorsed by democracyunderattack.org, representing 40 million Americans.